Now, the National Vetting Committee, headed by the local government minister, Dan Botwe, after its work, made recommendation of persons to be retained as either MCE or kicked out for various reasons. But the president, upon receipt of the report, sidestepped some of the recommendations and nominated persons who were not recommended by the committee. We'll hear shortly from some of them, but first my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins me in the studio with details of the breakdown of the president's departure from the committee's report. Kwesi, who are some of the committee members, and walk us through the selection process?
Okay, so Ernest, there was something like a two-tier committee where the regional executives of the party had to receive application from almost about close to 2,000 individuals who had applied for the job for being either DCE or an MCE. So if you go to the region, for example, the committee was headed by the regional minister, because the regional minister is representing the president at the regional level. And then they had a rep from the National Executive Committee. Okay. Then the president also appointed another individual to be part of that committee. Then the chairman of the region was also part of the committee. So they were the ones who handled the regional level application. Okay. So after their work, they put together their report and now submitted the report to the National Vetting Committee. Now, the National Vetting Committee was headed by the local government minister himself, that is Dan Botwe. So he was the head of the National Vetting Committee, and also the General Secretary of the party, John Bodu, part of the committee. Okay. Then the Majority Caucus, the leader of the Majority Caucus, that is
was also part of the committee. Let's go straight into the list. Let's start with the Greater Accra region. What are some of the issues that came up vis-a-vis the final list that we're seeing today? And as you reported yesterday about the disturbances in Ododo. Exactly. And then basically the people were saying that the president had kicked out the former AMA board. At the time they had hints. At the time they had hints. Yeah. Good. And that was premised on the report put together by the committee. Okay. The committee in the report to the president recommended Mr. Mohamed Niaje to be retained as MCE. However, yesterday when we received the list, it was Elizabeth Teriasaki who had been nominated. In fact, the committee recommended that Niaje should be retained because he has been an advocate for president goals and agenda to do with the sanitation in Greater Accra. You know, the president has been talking about Accra being the cleanest city and all of that. By the end of his term. Exactly. And then Niaje has also been championing that we have a partnership, even with the Clean Ghana campaign. Yeah. Exactly. So these were the reasons the committee said that. Based on ABC, we think that this man should be retained. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. Now, interestingly, if you go to the Gan West Municipal Assembly, the committee recommended Mr. Michael Niboy Ejay as the nominee for the MCE position. But it appears that Clement Wilkinson was maintained. Exactly, he was maintained. And interestingly, his name wasn't part of the list put together by the committee. In fact, they had three individuals, Michael Ejay, Andy Mensah, and then Samuel Ajete. Okay. Clement Wilkinson's name wasn't part of the committee's report. Okay. Interestingly, the president nominated him as the candidate for. So these are classical examples for the Greater Accra region. Let's go to the Northeast region, because we know that in Tripoli there were disturbances as well. They had hint again that the one Zurewa was going to be nominated to fill the position. The affairs were indeed confirmed. What are the issues there? So the committee recommended Mr. Kofi Salifu Orlando. In fact, he is actually the outgone DC for the area. Okay. So the committee said that based on his work, he was very instrumental in the 2020 general elections. He worked very closely with the NP and the party executives for the success of the party. So based on this reason, they are recommending to the president for consideration to retain the DC. Unfortunately, Madam Zureratu Nasiru was rather nominated by the president. And if you listen to the party supporters, they claim that it is because of her it was not her. There was another Mahama lady who they claimed that it was because she's a sibling to the former local government minister, Haja Ali Mahama. Exactly. So that was for Tripoli. And in fact, in Tripoli, 6 assemblies, 2 of them, the president rejected. And the East Mampusi too as well. Okay. The president rejected. And whilst you are at Tripoli, what has Zurewa Tumada Nasiru been saying about this development? Well, she is excited about her nomination.
however, not happy with the issues that have come up. In fact, she tells me that she's working closely with the party executives to fish out the individuals who are agitating against her nomination so that at the end of the day, they can work together as a party. Because at the end of the day, they are championing the president's agenda at the assembly level. So it'll be important to bring every individual on board to ensure that the work is achieved.
And is it clear, is it clear she has the support of the contender, the former DCE?
So Orlando tells me that in fact, he condemned the violent protest and pledged his support for the new nominee and says, in spite of the president's decision to sidestep the recommendation by the committee, he would throw his weight behind the new nominee.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, bringing us details of the work that was done by the vetting committee vis-a-vis the final list and the reactions that have come up on that.